Good afternoon, viewers at home. You are welcome to today's edition of the program in the newsroom, the second edition in the year 2023. Yeah, as usual, we are here once again with interesting topics for discussion. And you know, where some people in this country, when they talk, it will no doubt draw the attention of others. Such is the one like former President Olusegun Obasanjo, where the presidency is accusing him of destabilizing internal democracy. That is the first topic of our discussion for today. Obasanjo destabilizing internal democracy. That is coming from the presidency. Then secondly, we are going to look at the National Assembly, which budgets 850 million naira for failed constitutional amendment. You know, the issue of constitutional amendment has dragged on for some time now. And at the end of the day, a report has said that the attempt to amend the nation's constitution has failed. So thirdly, we are going to look at another topic here. New year, high stakes for subsidy, inflation, and insecurity. Well, my guests, the house is full today, and my guests are already with me here in the house. Sitting close to me is Mr. Adewale Adewumi. Adewale Adewumi, you are welcome on the program.
Thank you very much. Glad to be back on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Uthman Abiodun, you are also welcome on the program.
Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon to our viewers at home.
Thank you very much. Latif Agbola is also here with me in the house.
It's my pleasure being here, Cowdy. Thanks for having me.
All right. So I say compliment of the season to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. Now let's start the program in earnest with the first topic: Obasanjo destabilizing internal democracy. That is coming from the presidency. Adewale, how could Obasanjo be destabilizing internal democracy? Going by the fact that Obasanjo is not a member of any political party.
Yeah. It is funny. Funny to me that they will say somebody is destabilizing democracy when he is making his own choice known, when he is expressing his own opinion about what's happening. How could he be destabilizing democracy? But to the presidency or whoever in the presidency expressed that sentiment, maybe Obasanjo's statement or move is destabilizing their own peace of mind. So they will say destabilizing democracy. That is the way I see it. I don't see a person expressing his own opinion and expressing his preference to be destabilizing to democracy. No, it actually strengthens democracy. Because we're having a change of ideas.
Uthman, your take on this topic, Obasanjo destabilize internal democracy, could it be true?
Thank you. It depends on from the angle in which we want to approach that statement.
Okay.
Just some weeks back on this program, I don't know if Haji Latif can remember, we discussed something relating to Obasanjo.
Okay.
You see, when it comes to democracy and democratic process, it is not something we can, arrive at overnight.
Okay.
Nigeria as a system or as an entity is just, gradually coming by and growing into what we can call democracy. Okay. Democracy is for about 3 or 4 types. The one we are practicing in Nigeria is just the second tier type of democracy. But I think the presidency, the statement made by, the letter released by Obasanjo, we are all used to it. Yeah. But the presidency is coming in from the angle of him attacking their principal and attacking the president. Okay. If you look at the letter, if you look at the content of the letter, from the first paragraph, Obasanjo started attacking the system and a system which himself also had been part of. I mean, in the corridors of power, it is believed among the ruling elites that if you want to pass a particular instruction or you have a suggestion about governance, there are ways you can do that. You can meet the president, you can book for an appointment, and you see the president expressly. Yes. So from the first paragraph, Obasanjo was saying that we move from fry pan to fire. I mean, you started firing from the first. I mean, and if you look at the content of the letter, you're going to see that instead of him, it would have been better if he said, okay, this is my choice. And this is my choice because this one is the better person and this is why I'm supporting him.
Yeah.
But he used that opportunity to do what he always do all the time. To be the watcher man over the system of Nigeria. Without him, and whatever he says about Nigeria is the best. He is watching from the horizon, and that horizon sees everywhere. So, I mean, he's a statesman, and he has the right to, like he said, he has the right to, align with the candidate.
Yeah.
But the moment he goes out of that to, attacking a sitting government for a person of his caliber, whatever the presidency, decided to, the officials of the presidency decided to do after that, I think it is not out of context because we are talking of their principal, who is at the saddle of responsibility now, and somebody, your boss will say, your father was abused, when you went out to play, and you said, no, I don't want to fight because I don't want to die today. No, you should fight to death there because you have to protect the dignity of your father. So presidency officials are saying what they should be saying by saying no, you are attacking our principal in your letter, and by doing that you are not doing what can enrich democracy. You are in other hand, you are doing something that can endanger. So I see it as normal that they should do.
Okay, Latif, looking at the comment from the presidency, will you say that Obasanjo is truly destabilizing internal democracy?
Well, let's see it from two angles.
Yeah.
There is no way you can write the issue of Nigeria and you remove the name of Obasanjo, whether in the era of the military or the current democratic dispensation.
Okay.
Baba was blessed. Baba was a kind of, how do I put it, an angel in human form. Unfortunately, Baba had every opportunity to stabilize our system democratically. But because of his earlier than you stance, the overbearing influence, at the end of the day, ended up misused the opportunity. Let's start with how he handled his own political party, the PDP, before he finally told the world that he's no longer a party member. Baba single-handedly removed the party chairman, then Chibaudu. He visited the old man. He even ate pounded yam in his house, and they handed him a letter to sign. We are removing you as the chairman. As the president. Exactly. And when he left, he realized that the man didn't put date in that letter. He now came back and gave it to put the date. You can see the reason why those people were replying back in that manner. Honestly, to be candid, it's like when a pot is calling a kettle black. Baba, when he was the president, Baba had removed the sitting governor using member of National Union of Road Transport, NURTW, in other states. And let it as it is that. And he taught Adebayo Lawakala. What we are saying here is that Baba Obasanjo came when he had every opportunity to stabilize our democracy, to ensure that the democracy of Nigeria becomes a model in Africa, if not around the globe. But because Baba even wanted to be in power for life, you will not forget the third term agenda thing. So if these people are saying Baba doesn't allow the what do we call it, internal democracy, they know what they are talking about. Even in the National Assembly then, you remember the story of Abraham Mantu, Ken Namani. He was removing the Senate president at will. So I believe people may say we should leave the messenger. We should focus on message. There is no way you can leave a messenger in this case. Baba was the president when Nigeria we were successfully escaped what will have become the second civil war in Nigeria. The outcome of the June 12 annulment. Baba was imposed on us by the oligarchs in the north, and everybody took it. Well, let democracy came. But when democracy came, what did he do with that democracy? Baba wanted third term. That third term agenda pitched in against Atiku. That's why he said so many things about Atiku in his book. By and large, Baba Obasanjo has the right to choose whatever he likes to be his choice. He doesn't think about that.
Yes.
But he cannot tell anybody what to do. Don't forget, when Baba installed late Umar Musa Yar'Adua,
Okay.
Baba installed him maybe for any other reasons. But the known reason then was that the guy will be coming to Abeokuta to seek Baba's guidance. But the big men in the politics, the so-called Kaba, they took Yar'Adua over from him. And that's where exactly that's where he started supporting Jonathan to take over when the guy was not well. Yes, Jonathan took over. Baba expected the same thing again. And one set of people attacked Jonathan.
All right.
And Baba started campaign of calumny against Jonathan.
Okay.
Baba supported Buhari in 2014-2015, for God's sake. Because he always want to be there. He always want to have a say. He always want to rule by proxy.
All right.
You should go and sit down. He's our father. He's our leader. But as far as the senator is concerned, let democracy grow. We don't need Obasanjo to tell us who to vote for.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
Thank you. Adewale, now, going by the submission of the other panelists, are you not convinced that Obasanjo, by other than the utterances of the preference for a candidate, don't you agree that by his conduct and disposition is actually destabilizing the democracy?
I have never been a fan of Baba Obasanjo.
Okay.
I've never been a fan, and I'm still not.
Okay.
But I'm just looking at the letter that he wrote. I read it the first day before it even became public property. I read it and I thought he was expressing his own opinion. He expressed this against Jonathan. Jonathan, whatever happened with him, he expressed this against Buhari. Buhari won second term in spite of it. He expresses whatever he feels, but like the criticism of him against Femi Fani-Kayode, he said Femi Fani-Kayode is like a chicken. Give him money.
Started singing.
Okay, so Baba also may be playing to somebody's favor by endorsing Peter Obi. But let's go back to when this thing started. About a year ago, or maybe longer, but about a year ago, President Baba Obasanjo said that the presidency should rotate to the south. Okay, and he also said that age should be a factor, and that we need somebody younger. At that time, I was thinking Osinbajo, I was thinking Peter Obi, I was thinking other younger prospective candidates. But now that the field has been narrowed down to 3, there are more, but narrowed down to 3 major ones, he is now recalling his original preference for a younger person, and also that younger person being a southerner, and also being a southerner, that person comes from the southeast, because southeast has not been in the presidency or given presidency all along. So what he is expressing is his preferences that has been all along, but it's now prominent, and we do this cyclical. Every 4 years, he writes something, we talk about it. If he says similar thing in between, he doesn't actually get much press. But because now we're approaching an election, anything he says is to be taken seriously, but also to be taken with a grain of salt. He does not keep me from voting for whoever I want to vote for. But let's look at it. A lot of young people are actually clamoring for a younger candidate, and that younger candidate is none other than Peter Obi. So we will see what happens in about 6 weeks or 8 weeks in February, we'll see how things go. But Papa Obasanjo is expressing his own opinion. I'm not his fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just looking at what he had to say.
All right. Let me go to Uthman. If you look at this topic we are discussing now, there is no doubt that it has generated a lot of discord between the presidency and former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Now, as things are going now, do you see a meeting point between the two so as to douse the tension?
No, there will be no meeting points.
Why?
Because the reason why there will be no meeting point is that in that letter, Obasanjo is not even telling us about his candidate. He only made a passing comment about that candidate towards the end of the letter. I told you, let me read a particular chapter, a particular paragraph from that letter. He said, the last 7.5 years have no doubt been eventful and stressful years for many Nigerians. We have moved from the frying pan to the fire, and from the mountain top to the valley. Our leaders have done their best, but their best has turned out not to be best for Nigeria and Nigerians. I mean, he's not deciding for us that, okay, those best are not, is not the best for us. Now, he now said, for Nigerians at home and abroad. Now, for most Nigerians, it was hell on earth. Now, let us quickly jump to another comment. He said, I have interacted with major contestants, and I find it interesting that in one form or the other, each of them claims to want to do what I did during my presidency. No, I don't think that. Now, Obasanjo is telling us that his own presidency is the best to the extent that aspiring presidents are even coming to him and telling him that, see, father, please teach us how you did your presidency. As if that presidency was not done in our lifetime. I mean, we were all here. I mean, let us be realistic. And then, Obasanjo, I mean, he had all the opportunities in this world. So, no, going by this, if you are reading that letter, you know that he was particularly, he just wanted to use, and Obasanjo is a very clever person. He's a very, I mean, intelligent politician and a public person. He understands the mood. He will wait for the actual time, actual place, the context, the time, the place, the event that will suit a particular narrative, and then he will fire it. He waited for a time when, and he did it January 1st. So, and he waited for a time when we will say, I wanted to. He's not writing the letter for the sake of writing the letter. He said, I wanted to. But if you look at it, I've said it in my opening comment that Adibi Obasanjo came out and said, vote for this candidate. These are the things and the things and the things that I have seen in him that I think is better for the country. It would be an entirely different thing. But you wanted to sell a candidate, you ended up firing at a candidate not once, not twice. You fired at him so much time, telling him that and he said in the last 7.5 years. He didn't say since 2007 that I have handed over the government. He said since 7.5 years. So he was particular about the administration of Buhari. So that is to show you that he has some, and it has been like that, like Latif said. He has been like that. Why is it that Obasanjo is not always pleased with any administration that is on ground? Look at the way, the conduct and the courage of IBB. I mean, if IBB should say just a word today, it will make a very big headline. You know why? A lot of contestants have went to IBB, but IBB, as a statement, he was accepting them. No, I mean, he will attend to them, and they will go. That's how a statement should do. Let them all come to you. But stop playing to the gallery all the time. Stop, presenting yourself as if without you, the Nigerian system will not survive. No, it is not. It is not like that.
All right, thank you.
But IBB himself has said a younger candidate. He has made that statement more than 3 times.
All right.
IBB has said it.
Okay.
Yes. A younger candidate.
Before we round up on
let me start from.
I'm coming. Now, in the letter cited by Uthman, he mentioned that Obasanjo said all the presidential candidates are coming to him wanting to do what he had done. And in your last submission, you mentioned some of those things that Obasanjo did, including the impeachment of the sitting governors.
And to take Nigeria back to where it was at the height of my presidency.
Does it mean that all those,
don't look at that
all those presidential candidates going to him and now going to also impeach governors or do some other things that were done by Obasanjo when they become the
Is the
president.
question meant for
No, they Latif.
Now you see, Yoruba people say ọ̀rọ̀ ọlọ́gbọ́n bákan náà lórí tó nǹkan ló ń yàtọ̀. The question you ask Baba OBJ is, who exactly was or is Baba speaking for? Who appointed Baba or elected Baba to speak for the Nigerian youth? Is he a youth in the first place? Yeah. When you are talking about a younger person, Obi is 61 years. We have someone who is even younger than Obi in the race.
Looking at 61 against 74.
What about Zora who is 40 something? What are we talking about? I don't see.
We are below 50
exactly.
51, 52.
If you want a younger one, go for Sowore and the likes. Baba is only playing is mischievous political card. Everybody knows that.
That's
now,
the character.
You see, the moment Baba lost the third term agenda, it became what it became, and that's what is doing from that day till now. I didn't know. I still don't know why 8 years was not enough to lay a good foundation for Nigeria to progress. But immediately Baba lost the third term agenda. You will remember what happened then. Using the FCC to follow this, follow that. Even it affected the ticket of some of the major players in the National Assembly in PDP then. We have a particular senator from here who wanted to become governor, and Baba promised him that don't worry, I won't allow Lagbaja to go for second time in the state. You will be given the ticket. Not until the money of the primary did that particular senator didn't know that Prince Oyinlola had been cleared from the national secretariat of the party. He believed that Oyinlola could not get the total. The moment he was shown the letter that he had been cleared, he vanished from the what we call the primary, the failure of the primary. What led to that? The third term agenda. Third term agenda and the support of the likes of Fayose for president of Atiku over Baba Obasanjo led to Fayose's impeachment. Fayose was to be replaced by Senator Olujimi. But when that failed, because the Assembly said the same allegation that affected Fayose had affected his deputy. So, and the speaker was to become the acting governor of the state. Baba said no. And he declared state of emergency in Ekiti and brought in Oluni to become the head of the government. Look at and what is he telling us? Let Obasanjo go. He's an elderly man. I don't want to talk as a bastard, a Yoruba bastard son. But Baba should please go and sit down.
All right. Now, please. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's move to the second topic of our discussion for today. National Assembly budgets 850 million naira for failed constitutional amendment. How do you think that?
850 million naira to be spent is just budgeted.
Yes.
So what is it that they're going to do with the constitutional amendment that they have not done already, besides passing it in the National Assembly and printing the copies and distributing it? What is it that they're going to do that will cost 850 million naira to implement? That is the question that came to my mind when I first saw the topic, that we're talking about budget, cutting down, austerity and all. But the people in charge, the presidency, the National Assembly, they are actually putting the pressure and the squeeze on Nigerians, on the average Nigerian to suffer. But they themselves are not cutting down on their expenses, on their spending. They're putting they're shifting the burden on the average Nigerian. Bag of rice 2012 was 7,500. Bag of rice 2022, now 23, is 43,000 naira. So the burden is on the average Nigerian, and this in the National Assembly, they're adding more money. They're increasing their spending while they are asking the rest of Nigeria to decrease their expenses. This is not fair. I do not agree with it. I don't know what else is left to do in the constitutional amendment, that the National Assembly is all that's left to do it and to ratify it and distribute it. Why will it cost 850 million naira? That is the question that I keep asking.
All right. Thank you. Now, National Assembly budget 850 million naira for failed constitutional amendment.
Yes, I think we've been saying it and saying it. I think we are not quite ready to go into the phase of nationhood. Currently, we are just a country of people coming together. That is just the first phase. After that, you move into nationhood. And then when you get to the phase of nationhood, you do things according to the reality on ground. I mean, a developing country doesn't need to have two national assembly that will be governing 25% of the national budget every year. Now, what makes it so intriguing and so irritating again is that some of these things, even if a president like Buhari wanted to do in his first time when he was doing all this gaga, they told him that, see, some of these things have been put under the budget of the National Assembly, which the executive is not even bold enough to cut. Because the moment the executive cuts their budget, they will start shouting, hey, we are going to beat you, we are going to do this. That is to show you that we have men and women that we are supposed to be looking at as our leaders, looking up to as our leaders, that are supposed to be patriotic, that are supposed to have the feelings of other Nigerians in their hearts, but they are heartless. It is failed because all over the years, I mean, what is the direct implication of a constitution to Nigerian person? Because over the years, they have been saying every National Assembly, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th amendment, they will go all over. And some of the millions that you see there are money that will be spent by members of the National Assembly, their staff, and some few others, consultants. They will go all over the country. They will book hotels. They will sleep and eat on Nigerian budgets, and they will come back and pile up something that will not be used. I mean, it is the height of, unpatriotic act for people to be spending hard. I mean, if we are to be in the days of oil windfall, whereby we have abundance, we said, but now, due to so many factors in the world, even the oil that we normally sell and get free money, it is no more common as it is. So why can't our leaders block some of these things and say, okay, let us use some of this money for critical infrastructure? 850 million is a huge amount of money that can construct so many roads, that can construct so many hospitals, that can take care of some of our critical areas.
Can educate students.
Yes, they can build more classes, they can build more laboratories. But some people, and this is not, over the time, you see some of these agencies that normally track budget bringing out, insulting items in the budget. The president's budgeting 59 million to cut his hair. And things like that.
Makes you want to be a barber.
Yes. What do you want to barb with 59 million in 12 months? So, when some of these things are being brought out, you realize that from the top to the bottom, whoever in the position of authority, you don't have the love and the affection of Nigerians at heart. That is why they are putting some of this, because since 1999, every assembly, they will say constitutional amendment. They say constitutional review committee, being headed automatically by the deputy senate president and the deputy speaker of the House of Representatives. Now, those money will now be made, some of these provisions will now be made to travel around the country, to sleep in hotels and share the money for consultants. It is cool. So I think if there is a way, but the president has signed it, if there is a way, but the president is helpless in this matter, because the president himself, even if he said, I want to scrutinize the budget of the National Assembly will not agree. They will make sure that 25% of the national budget gets into. That is why they have National Institute for Legislative Study. What are they studying? They have this, they have that, they have aids and everything. It is part of them. So if you are spending 25% of our national budget, that means if you have 1 billion, for instance, the National Assembly will take 250 million out of that 1 million. They are not up to 1,000. So they will not take 25% of what about 180 million people will take. It is unfair.
No. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Latif, National Assembly budget 850 million naira for paid constitutional amendment. How do you see it?
Well, you see, considering the fact that they need to organize the so-called public hearing.
Yeah.
They may need, honestly, they may need some money to do all this. But you will ask, what exactly was the result of that amendment in the first place? This is a country whereby we've turned politics to business. We are not the serious type. You see people, even in the private sector, they dictate the pace, but silently. You don't see them. They are the one who are controlling us using the remote control, but you won't see them. But the question is this: why is it difficult to have a complete new constitution of Nigeria? Why is it difficult? Why not a new constitution entirely? Because if you call General Osbc today to come and tell us that part of the constitution whereby we Nigerians contributed, he cannot show you even just an aspect of the constitution whereby we contributed. He imposed that constitution on us. It is the military idea that was injected and packaged as our constitution. The fact remains that no matter how experienced or professional you might be as a driver, if you are given a 40 vehicle, you cannot go smoothly as expected. Nigeria needs a new constitution. You will ask President Muhammadu Buhari and his government what happened to the white paper of the 2014 National Conference. Many issues were included in that white paper that will have saved us of all this unnecessary effort. So Nigeria, we are not serious. We are not ready for the real democratic governance. That's the problem we are having. You'll be surprised that we always blame the people at the National Assembly. There are some influential senior career officers who injected projects in the budget, and who had that connection to the extent that I repeat it, no legislator have the guts to tackle them because they have the Ababa Ogun elsewhere in the name of Kaba. So we have this issue on our neck, but I believe the only way that we can escape all these unnecessary amendments is to have a complete new constitution for the country. Anything less than that is abracadabra.
All right, thank you. Now, before we begin to say we should have new constitution, the one we have now, we have to keep on using it, and that is why we are debating it now. Now, still on this topic, you see, we've had a series of attempts to amend our constitution, and it has always been a failure. Now, another budget is now being, another money is being budgeted for a failed project. Adewale, how do you see this?
Well, I will ask the members of the National Assembly to account for how they spent, appropriated the money that was for the constitutional amendment in previous sessions.
Previous years.
They need to account for it. What did they achieve with that before this is being approved, or before this will be approved? They need to account for what they did. Of course, they traveled, they stayed in hotels, they got ESTA codes and all that. But what will they do now is what I asked at the beginning. What will they do now that has not been done before, besides just ratifying or finalizing this thing and ratifying it and present it to the nation, print it and copy it and all that? So what else will they do that will cost 850 million? I don't understand it because I'm not in the National Assembly. And the problem is that we stand outside, we don't understand it, we criticize it, but get us elected into the National Assembly, and then they pull us in like a vortex. They pull us into their system, and then they silence us.
Okay.
So that's what's happening to many of the members of the National Assembly now.
Thank you, Adewale. Now, if you look at the series of attempts to amend the Constitution and the money spent in previous attempts, is it not good that we jettison the issue of amendment and begin to use the one we have at hand instead of budgeting money every year without result?
The real issue is that let them continue doing this every year and every year. The recommendations from the public and concerned stakeholders about our constitution has always been the same. And we all know it, they all know it. And the clamoring has been restructuring. Let everybody go back to regional autonomy. Let's reduce the load on the federal government. That has always been the recommendation. If you go around all the, but the moment those reports are compiled, the major things there is that the presidency doesn't want to leave power for, this bottleneck responsibility on the neck of the federal government in the exclusive list of the constitution. It is there. But those are some of the key recommendations that the moment they are recommended and the federal government, but there is no way. If some of those recommendations are to be implemented, it means the status quo will change in the corridor of power in Nigeria. The power will no longer be centralized in Abuja. It will, the state governor should have some certain level of power over the police that are in their states. Even if not total. But why will a state governor will be called CSO of the state? Yeah. But the commissioner of police in the state will have to take order from the IG who is in Abuja before he can do what a state governor wants him to do. So those are some of these things have been said over and over, have been documented, have been presented in the previous one. Okay. But my own issue is that every year, every budget, money is being budgeted for that again. And then around February, March, April, some people will just go around and they will say that money has been spent and that constitutional amendment has been there. No, because every year there is no any constitution that has been amended. Nothing has been previewed. Nothing has been reviewed. So what we think is that it is better if they are not even putting it again, so that we know. It says something very good. That constitution is like a tattered cloth. The moment you are stitching it here, you are stitching it here. Once you stitch it here, it will tear it in another place again. It will tear in another place again. Once a cloth has become tattered, you need to do away with it. A time will come to my dear Akisha. So in that instance, you will not be able to use it. So the moment this constitution is faulty from day one, and the faultiness of it is that the power, the military mentality has been injected into that constitution to centralize. Military likes to gather power in their everything. We will go there. Hey. So the presidency has been loaded with a lot of responsibilities that needed to be let go. But the moment that is done, power will reduce, and you will start seeing some kind of development in our region areas. So those are some of the recommendations that have been done every year, and if you see, let us do it again. May God keep us alive. You see that when it is time for some of these going around public hearing and everything, it is things that people have been saying that people will still say, and then we'll still come back to the status quo. But the thing, what I see about some of these things is that it has become a kind of venture or business for some people in the National Assembly.
Exactly.
So that's why if you look at if you look at the days of pardon, when the issue of pardon came out, we realize that so we know you are a rep member. Where could you on earth get some money that you are spending? Even if you are spending the whole of your salary, some things that some of our representatives, House of Rep and senators are doing are far beyond their handling. They will now realize that some of them will pad budgets, billions and millions into the budget, and then they will now find a way to bring out those money without executing any budget.
Right, thank you.
So it has become a business of sorts.
Before we round up on this topic, Latif, why is it that our own constitution is so difficult to amend? That we have been making attempts, budgeting money for several years without any result?
Well, because that money being budgeted has become a kind of conduit pipe for those who are enjoying it. The fact means that I'm not in support of amending any constitution. Let's have a new, complete constitution. Okay. That's the way to go. You see, there is no way you can use this constitution and enjoy yourself. Look at, he talked about something, devolution of power, for instance. We are in Osun here, we are sitting on gold, one of the best in Africa, if not in the world. They had similar thing in Zamfara State. But the proceeds end up in the pocket of powerful individuals. So resource control allow the states to see into this. In fact, even the fuel, you see individual having oil block when a state government is sovereign. Why not state government having that oil block? For them to have the financial wherewithal to do whatever they want to do. But because this is Nigeria, we are always self-centered. The moment you are enjoying a lopsided arrangement, you don't bother to work for its change. And let me tell you, the civil society too is another problem that we are facing.
Okay.
Those who fought for democracy to come to Nigeria, some of them are now late. The rest that are alive, they have also, I cannot blame them. They are also now working for themselves. Because if you are working for the nation for several years and you don't see anything with the thank you in response, look at the life of late Gani Fawemi when he was alive. He was even given the senior advocate of the masses because the military government didn't want him to be given senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, when he merited it. And the masses came together and said, they said, we've given you a senior advocate of the masses. But when this man contested the position of president in Nigeria, how many votes did he get? That's the question. Where were the masses then? Yeah. So that means the masses of Nigeria at times, we don't even know what we want.
All right.
At times when elections come around, we have adopted the system of taking money, taking rice, taking amala, vote, and the rest. In fact, you will be surprised that the larger number of Nigerian population are now politicians.
All right. Thank you.
Whether as leaders or as followers.
Thank you, Latif. Let's now move to the third topic of our discussion. Before we finally round it up on the program for today, New Year, high stakes for subsidy, inflation, and insecurity.
Well, the first one is subsidy. The subject of subsidy has been in the news, has been the topic, has been debated, discussed, and it remains the same. Remember, it was it was this time last year that the president said for certain that subsidy would be removed, and the National Assembly opposed it, and then you saw what happened. Then the president came out and said 18 months, and that 18 months at that time will expire in July of this year, which just means that the presidency, the current administration would be in the subsidy regime until July next year, July this year, when he would have been no more in power, and so whatever happens when the subsidy is removed is not up to him anymore. So it's a shame that Nigeria cannot provide what it produces. And it cannot provide what it produces because the refineries to be used to refine crude oil are moribund. They are spending billions of naira in the so-called turnaround maintenance, and we are still not seeing any results coming out of it. And so that is why Nigeria will keep on borrowing money and keep on, because it is not working. We need to reform and have modular refineries legalized all over the country. So that's all.
Then inflation.
Yeah, well, inflation is a national, it's a worldwide thing. It's not just Nigeria. And I've been saying that for the past over a year now, when I first read the report by World Bank. Price increase, inflation and all, it's not unique to Nigeria. It's all over the world. In the United States, they are crying. Senior citizens like myself are crying because the money that you're receiving every month is not actually enough to carry you through. So it's not just unique to Nigeria, but Nigeria is a test case because if inflation is 21 point something percent, and it's going to be higher by June or July. In the United States, they are talking about 6 or 7%. But in Nigeria, double digits, and nobody is doing anything, and CBN is not helping either.
Then in the area of insecurity.
Insecurity is a common thing, and is a thing that has become a daily thing. What are we going to do about it? United Nations, world organizations, and individuals have been writing reports and saying that there are people in power who are behind the insecurity that is plaguing Nigeria. But who is addressing it directly?
All right. Uthman, New Year, high stakes for subsidy, inflation, insecurity.
On the issue of subsidy, I think it is high time we find a lasting solution to our problems when it comes to the issue of petroleum, the power sector, the oil and gas. The presidential candidate of the APC, Aswad has been saying it in more than 3 or 4, in close to 4 occasions now, that he's going to remove subsidy. Buhari too said that, not until he got to, Buhari was at the back seat watching the driver driving, but there's a different view of the road you have as a passenger and as a driver. So when he gets to power, we hope that he will be able to do the right thing, build more refineries, and then we can able to dance around the issue of subsidy so that it will not burden Nigerians that much. On the issue of inflation, you see, inflation is a word thing, but the problem, the reason it has become, a more problematic thing for Nigeria is that we don't have national planning that's planned for us, for about 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years. That in the last, because the IMF said it that the world economy will fall into recession in the first quarter of 2023 due to the war in Russia, Ukrainian war, due to a lot of factors in the world. So how far are we preparing for that? So the inflation has been going on. Now if you see, you buy something for 10 naira today, next week or 5, 6 days again, they will say that is 25 naira. You'll be alarmed at rate, and then insecurity. We hope that any government that is coming in after President Buhari will find a way to move, because we need to be acquiring hardware over the years, because Nigeria, what Buhari met was a military that has been left unattended to for so many years, using something close to a damn gun. You see a Nigerian soldier will be holding a gun and you'll be shaking your head. What kind of this in 21st century? But now he has been working on that, and we hope that if we can, and security is not about holding guns. There are a lot of other social investments we can do that the new government can key into, so that in the year 2023 we can have a more secure. Because if you look at our neighborhoods and our state and everywhere, you see that security is going at the lowest ever. So we need to rejig our security architecture so that 2023 will be more secure and more safer in our country.
Thank you. Latif, New Year, high stakes for subsidy, inflation, insecurity.
Well, the question is there anything like subsidy in the first place?
Yes.
The question is, the way I asked the question is this. When Buhari government came and they wanted to increase the price of fuel, they told us they were removing the subsidy. How the same subsidy that was removed there resurfaced became a mystery. Okay. So if you leave what you should have done undone, this will be the result. Baba talked about what happened to our refinery. Even if it is for the local consumption alone, if you are producing locally for our consumption, you won't be experiencing all this. If you want to export the remaining crude that we want to sell out, no problem. But for the one we are consuming locally, and you need to take it elsewhere to refine, that is an insult in the first place. So now, if that is the case, I believe when these people are ready, the solution to the oil sector is refinery, whether they like it or not. And on the issue of inflation, you see, it's another thing. But the question is, what is the CBN and other financial body the government are doing for short-term and long-term solution is the issue. Because you recall the other time when we escaped the issue of COVID-19, federal government pumped billions of naira, if not dollar, into social security investment. But all this money, majority of them ended up in the pocket of the rich, not the poor. We have evidences. Some people will tell you, I offer me 2.5 million now. So people that are already rich, and you see those that's supposed to have been given that money will be complaining and will continue to complain if we are doing this. Yeah, exactly. Because if you are doing something the same way and you expect a different result, you are deceiving yourself. And on the security issue, the moment we started politicizing security, the moment we started this problem, you caught me. This problem, the major one, started when Lieutenant Adua gave the militant in the Niger Delta amnesty. That's where it started. Some people somewhere saw that one as an opportunity to also encourage their own youth to pick arms. That the government will come and beg you and you drop your ammunition, but along the line they don't drop it. See what is happening in the southeast now. The unknown government, the IPOB will tell you they are not the one killing people. Those people, they are even senseless to the extent of killing their own people in the name of fighting for. Similar to the same thing those people in the northeast are doing. We are not saying the government is doing fine, but is that the way to show us that the government is not doing fine? Then finally, majority of those who are in military and paramilitary today, they took up the job because they were jobless.
Yes.
Not because of commitment.
No, and security job is a volunteer job that I want to protect my country. I want to protect my people, not because I'm jobless. Let me take it. You see some of our people in some of these military and paramilitary, they have their daily contribution. They contribute daily. You ask them where do they get that money to contribute daily? Are they businessmen? Are they traders in the market?
All right. Latif, thank you very much. Gentlemen, I really appreciate your presence on the program today.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here all the time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Happy New Year to our people.
Thank you. Latif.
Now, please let me add. Let's
Nice
inculcate the habit of praying for Nigeria.
Okay.
If you ask us when last did we pray for this country, let's see Nigeria as our own project.
All right.
Let's be sincere and patriotic.
Okay.
May God help us.
Thank you. Viewers at home, this is where we are going to end it up for today. Tomorrow is another day when you meet another of my colleagues in the newsroom. See there, I have Kayode Adebayo.